Member FDIC.
Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. It is 8:11, and it is time for our interview segment, and our segments are presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer for 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. And we have with us a guest from Indiana Regional Medical Center. Dr. Matthew Krinock, cardiologist, is in studio with us today. And Matthew, thank you very much for coming in. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very much. So, a cardiologist over at Indiana Regional Medical Center. I'm sure you heard a little bit earlier that they're focusing a lot on heart health this month a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously this is a very important topic. Heart disease is the number one killer in America, unfortunately. So having a spotlight on it definitely is beneficial to the community. It's something that touches pretty much all of us. All of our families have known someone that had some sort of heart disease, whether it's atrial fibrillation, heart attack, high cholesterol. So definitely good to focus on it and see what we can do to improve our community outcomes with it.
All right, so let's learn about you for a little bit. Where did you go to school? Where are you from, first off?
So originally from Johnstown, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
so semi-local.
Semi-local, yeah. Went to Cal U, actually, then for undergrad, and then I went to medical school in Tennessee. Then I did my training in the eastern side of the state, near Allentown, for internal medicine and cardiology fellowship as well.
What got you interested in becoming, going into the medical profession and then specializing in cardiology?
Yeah, so a few different things. Certainly the medical profession is where you can help people the most. I think there's a lot of ways to help people in life, but you definitely can see the results very quickly when you're in the medical profession, and that certainly is a very rewarding experience to see that. And then cardiology, it's a very intricate field. It's a very complicated field, but you can make a really big difference there as well.
So for people who might not know, what is a cardiologist? We mentioned heart health, so cardiovascular health is probably part of that.
So cardiologist is someone that focuses on the cardiovascular symptoms, which includes the heart, which includes rhythm abnormalities, valvular abnormalities, blockages in your arteries, and then even up to the vasculature as well, screening for aneurysms and different types of disease that can happen within the big vessels of your body as well.
When should someone start seeing a cardiologist?
Well, the things that should prompt someone to see a cardiologist would certainly be symptoms of chest pain, shortness of breath, heart fluttering. If there's a strong family history, too, it's very good to see a cardiologist to try to get some primary prevention before anything were to happen that would require, a more invasive or aggressive approach.
So what do you most commonly treat?
Most commonly, the things that we see the most would be chest pain. We do stress tests to try to see if there's any blockages in the arteries. We look at different rhythm abnormalities. Atrial fibrillation is the most common rhythm abnormality in the United States, so we spend a lot of time treating that as well. Heart fluttering as well. Shortness of breath is the big things that we see.
All right. You mentioned the stress test, and whenever I first saw it, I mean, I was studying a little bit with the Boy Scouts. We were learning a little bit about heart health, and I saw the stress test being performed. It's somebody, basically they were hooked up and they were running on a treadmill and trying to, they were determining how stressful it was for them to do that. Is that sort of test still done today?
Yeah, that's done very, very often, actually. We do a lot of stress tests at IRMC. A lot of the big institutions in Pittsburgh also do a lot of stress tests. It's one of the best ways we have to detect blockages in the hearts without actually having to do a procedure. So extremely important study, and we do get a lot of information from that.
That's actually pretty good then. All right, so let's say somebody comes in with those common things that we were talking about. Is there a way that we can actually prevent that?
So preventing the blockages in the heart, yeah. So the biggest thing for that would be diet, lifestyle. Also getting your labs checked to make sure you don't have some sort of underlying genetic abnormality that predispose you to having really high cholesterol levels. We see that a lot, even in sometimes younger people or people that on the outside look very fit and healthy. It's a very good screening test to make sure you don't have any kind of a predisposition to having high cholesterol.
So the term heart healthy is thrown around a lot, wouldn't you say? I mean, I think it's safe to say and it gets used a lot when discussing diet, when discussing exercise. So what are the things that you would recommend for the average John and Jane public out there to try to improve their heart health without having to resort to medicines or procedures?
Yeah, so the biggest thing, we mentioned diet and exercise. So exercise, 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise per week is what's recommended at this time. Heart healthy diet, the diet that's shown really good outcomes as far as actually reducing the risk of heart attack would be the Mediterranean diet, and also something called the DASH diet as well.
Okay, DASH diet. I know a little bit about the Mediterranean diet, but the DASH diet, what is that?
The DASH diet, it's very similar to the Mediterranean diet, but it's focused a little bit more on decreasing your sodium intake. Yeah, so it focuses on it's been had most beneficial for people that have high blood pressure. So it very similar as far as legumes, nuts, avoiding processed foods, but also limiting your sodium intake as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much sodium is in something like a can of soup or some other things. But that's actually pretty good thinking about it from the diet perspective. And I guess I now know where the DASH term comes from, that popular no salt seasoning. But let's think about this. I mean, you talked about having 75 minutes of VPA, vigorous physical activity, as we used to call it in school, or about 3 hours a week of just moderate exercise. And moderate exercise could be just as simple as taking a nice walk, right?
Yeah, not at a very slow pace. I mean, certainly you want to be walking.
Let's put it this way: a good 4-4 march. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking of is the fact that this is actually pretty easy to do.
It is,
and not a lot of people know about that.
Correct. Yeah. So if you just do 20 minutes a day, you're up to 140 minutes per week. Then, so certainly you're meeting your goals right there. And think about how much time we spend doing 20 minutes of things that
watching a TV program or something like that. Yeah. I definitely hear you on that. So if somebody does need your services, how can they get a hold of you?
So they could call the IRMC number, which I believe you have right there.
Yeah, that's 724-463-9700?
Correct.
And they just ask for you, right?
Correct, and they schedule an appointment there.
All right. Yeah. And are you getting a lot of people around this time of the year because stress is also kind of a factor when it comes to cardiology?
Certainly we do. We do see a lot, especially around Thanksgiving. We see a lot of people come into the hospital and Christmas as well. So certainly stress can play a factor in this. But, a lot of these diseases have been building up for many years, so we see them all year round as well.
So, you see them all year round. Just something about the holidays and maybe just trigger it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matthew, thank you very much for joining us on Indiana in the Morning, and I hope that people who need your services are able to get a hold of you, and I hope that you're able to continue to provide and help out as many people as you can. Thanks again for being here.
Appreciate it.
That was Dr. Matthew Krinock, cardiologist with Indiana Regional Medical Center, joining us on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, and our interviews presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. You can visit them online at marcusandmack.com. And let's continue on the theme here with our medical reports.
This is House Call for Health. The medical and technological worlds often go hand in hand, with new devices providing breakthroughs in healthcare that researchers hope will improve people's lives. Now, engineers at the University of Hawaii are revealing more about how their tiny robots can revolutionize future treatments in big ways. Researchers hope they'll open doors for more minimally invasive treatments in the future. The bots are made of a mesh structure, allowing them to morph as they wind through the body's vessels. Unlike some other surgical tools which have cords, doctors will be able to direct these robots around the body